views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray. I think Billy Joel was onto something here, folks. We didn't start the fire, all right? We didn't start this fire. Iran, we didn't start that fire. What did Obama think was going to happen when he gave him $2 billion in 2016 and said, don't use it for terrorism? We didn't start that fire. U.S. has sent $130 billion to Ukraine, all right? Protest left, right, and center, Ukraine, but anti-Israel. All right. We didn't start that fire either. All right. That fire has been blowing up for thousands of years. We didn't start that fire. Why we supported Ukraine but not Israel is beyond me. Police relations, we didn't start that fire. You want to go back to that? We'll talk about Beergate, Obama. That started that fire. The hands up, don't shoot. That started that fire. It didn't happen. There are lots of things that didn't happen. All right. This fire that's burning in this country, we didn't start it. But unfortunately, we're tasked at putting it out. I'm Tommy Werther, and you're in the Blue Room.
Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember all those who were lost in the line of duty. All right, Tommy, you're up.
Welcome back to the Blue Room. Coming to you live from the Stark Financial Studios in beautiful downtown Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Yes, folks, I said it. Stark Financial Studios is a new sponsor of our studios. Wealth management, taxes, financial planning, active, retired, personal, business, doesn't matter. Retirement planning, Stark Financial Studios is your first stop in figuring this shit out. There'll be a link up, maybe a QR code, how to find them, what they can do for you. Guys, it costs you nothing to pick up the phone and just have a conversation with someone. You know, how many times you read on Facebook, oh, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Do not trust your family's financial future. Some guy on Facebook that, you know, made his money in Bitcoin. You reach out to a company like Stark Financial. It costs you nothing to sit down, have a conversation for a half hour. You let them know what you're looking for, and they're going to guide you in the right direction. So nothing to lose, only gain, only positive stuff coming from that. So check out Stark Financial Studios. Is there a link for that, Mo?
Yeah, we got the thing up in the corner there, and we'll put the link in the comments.
All right. Well, special guest in studio today, Dominic Carter, folks. 77 ABC Radio, New York News 1. I am a New York 1 guy. I grew up in Queens when New York 1 first came out. I watched you guys religiously. Pat Kiernan, actually, Pat Kiernan's kids go to the same school my kids go to. My wife teaches.
Interesting.
Pat's kids. Well, I think he's got one left still in high school. Big fans of what you guys do. Without all the media, and obviously Dominic, you're living it. The change in the way media is portrayed and change in the way media does its job 25 years ago to compare to today. I mean, you grew up in the time of Jennings and Brokaw and Cronkite. Like I mean, a little bit before our time, maybe, but those are the TV shows. These are the newscasters that we listen to. That I'm sure you used as inspiration to do what you do. And now you're in that position, and you're surrounded by folks that they don't have much integrity, to be quite honest, in general. But and I don't paint everyone with a broad stroke. As a police officer, we are often painted in that broad stroke where we're judged by the actions of a few,
which is wrong.
Which is definitely wrong. It's definitely wrong. But the difference here is that when the news media spins a story a certain way, it can change the dynamic in a whole city or a whole state, a whole country when they get on board. Where when a couple of bad cops, what do we get? A couple of riots, and we're always held accountable. All right. First of all, the police officers in this country have never been held more accountable for their actions than they are right now. Body cameras.
It's gone too far. It's gone too far. Way too far.
Most cops will tell you we're okay with it. We really are. This isn't the 60s and 70s of, running with gangs and ripping drug dealers and planting guns and drugs. And not that happened on a wide scale pace, certainly, but it did happen. It did happen. And we're more accountable now than ever. But there are so many other bad actors that are not held accountable in mainstream media, politicians especially. I mean, you're a political commentator. Mm-hmm. You know very well. You know firsthand. Mm-hmm. You've sat there and you've interviewed people. You've interviewed Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, I don't know if you guys know this. Hillary Clinton, Dominic had the scoop on Hillary Clinton in 2016 with her first public notion that she was even considering running was in a debate that you hosted. I mean, talk about
Rochester, New
talk
York.
about a scoop.
Yes,
that's a big thing to happen under your watch.
I've been around, Tom, for a while. Thank you for having me here. I got to tell you this. So you mentioned Hillary Clinton. Straight up, man. I'm not impressed with people like Hillary Clinton. I'm impressed by people like you. Like, I'm impressed by people like John, the man to your right there, John Mancini. And the reason why I'm impressed with you guys are out there, law enforcement. Let's cut through all the bullshit, keeping all of us safe. And you are our last line of defense compared to those animals that are out there. And yes, should everybody be held accountable? Yes, but key word, everybody. Mm-hmm. You can't just say, let's handcuff the police every day. And these criminals are out there with the politicians behind them. They have every leg up on the police. Mm-hmm. And yet, because I'm not cool, Tom, with what's going through my head right now. And I want to talk to you about my coach, Bill, in a second, my football coach. He's why I'm here today with you guys. Coach Bill, who was a retired police officer. I'm also here because of John, because John has a good heart. John's a good man. And if John asked me, yes, you, sir, if John asked me to do something, it's taken very, very seriously because I know the caliber of the man. I know you're cut from the same caliber. But one of the things that really bothers me, and I knew we were in deep trouble, society, and we can talk about the big controversy now is the cartoon and the monkey thing. And was it wrong? Yes, it was wrong. But let's not pretend that it's the end of the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have bigger fish to fry.
Absolutely,
particularly in the Black community, Black on Black crime, education. I'm one of those kids that didn't have a father, so I know a thing or two about this topic. But when I knew we were in trouble as a society, and let me just say this, Tom, I am 1,000% law enforcement, okay? I wasn't always that way. I was the guy that the community would call when there were allegations of police brutality. But when I knew we were in deep trouble, society-wise, was in East Harlem, New York. Those two officers were leaving the projects, and those kids, all Black and Latino, thought it was funny to douse the officers with water. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew, and the officers just held their heads low and left. That's when I knew that we were in deep, deep trouble as a society.
Well, besides the way that they slunked away, it almost, and I've seen that video so many times, and as a retired police officer, it would made me angry. I was more angry at the response by the officers and the police department than I was by the actual actions. The kids that were throwing the water on the cops, that behavior is expected of people that don't support cops. It happens all the time. I had bricks thrown off rooftops at me. I expected that. The look on the officer's face was a look of shame, as if they were embarrassed for being there. And then they slunked away with the tail between their legs. Now, people might say, well, what were they supposed to do? Were they supposed to turn around and, beat the daylights out of these kids for throwing? No, they weren't. They weren't. But 10 years before that, what would have happened was those two officers would have tried to arrest the gentleman that did this, and then they would have called for backup. And then for 2 or 3 days after that, that area would have been saturated with police presence, and not with harassing people. That would have been saturated police presence for quality of life crimes. They would have flooded the area for jaywalkers, for sitting on milk crates on the corner, for riding the bikes on the sidewalk. We're putting a message out now. That type of enforcement doesn't infect the regular Joe Blow person that lives in the apartment that's going back and forth to work every day. They're not standing around the corner. They're not slinging drugs. They're not doing all that shit. But that's the way that would have been handled then, and it wasn't. So what you did by not handling that and addressing that problem right there was that you basically said it was okay to do it. Now, just because it's legal to do something doesn't mean it's right. Was it an assault? Listen, they didn't get hit with a brick. They got hit with water. All right, so now you've taken two cops off patrol. They got to go back. They got to change their gear. It's just the amount. Forget about even that portion of it.
Nobody thinks about that.
The disrespect. So now,
yes,
what? Two or three clowns decided they were going to disrespect these officers. Those officers made a decision, and I don't judge them for it. Different times. I was raised differently in a different department than those guys were. Everyone else that saw that, though, they lost what little respect they had left. And now they feel that they can basically do whatever we want to do. And that's kind of the way, like we in the intro, I talked about Beergate with Obama. That was kind of like that was the turning point. And I don't know if you remember that. That was a guy in Boston, Harvard University professor.
Remember it well.
Henry Gates.
Then literally his next door neighbor who lived there for 20 years noticed that the door was open and thought there might have been a burglary. When the police arrived and that gentleman was there, they just Q&A'd him. They didn't put him in handcuffs. And he said, look, I live here. If the cops were driving by and saw a guy struggling to get into an apartment door and they stopped and said, what's up? They would have said, I live here. Here's your ID. Have a nice day. The fact that the neighbor who lives there for 20 years, much like the Aaron Dean incident in Fort Worth, Texas, they were there for a reason. The neighbor called and said, there's someone trying to get into this apartment. The cops show up. Oh, you live here? No problem. Have a nice day. Turned into this massive, black on white police crime. Obama got involved. Let's come to the White House and have a beer in the back. We don't need a beer in the backyard. We don't need any of that.
Before it even got to that, Tommy, the big part with Obama's involvement was, and you can still look up the transcript of his press conference and the first public comment he gave on that. He says in that moment, the highest elected official in the land, if not arguably the most powerful man in the world, robbed law enforcement of the presumption of innocence. He says in his statement, the first comment he gives on it, while I wasn't there, I didn't witness anything firsthand, and I don't have all the facts yet, I think we can all agree law enforcement acted stupidly. So in the absence of any kind of evidence, the president of the United States made it okay to prejudge law enforcement as a failure.
And it's not okay.
But but that's okay. If you take that stand that it was your wife that got pulled over, like we all know our spouses, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your wife comes home and says, Dominic, I got pulled over today and blah, blah, blah. Now, you know your wife, you know her mannerisms. John, you know yours. I know mine. I'm going to assume that my wife, when she tells me something in an interaction like that what she's saying is true. President Obama did not know this gentleman at all. So that presumption of innocence or guilt, in this case, the guilt towards the officers, I would be okay with that if he personally knew that professor and said, this is like my best friend in the world. And now, no, this was a complete stranger. Your wife comes home and says that you're gonna believe that what she's saying is truthful. And then you may or may not issue a public statement based on you knowing your wife. He made this statement based on absolutely nothing. And he self-admittedly said, I know nothing about anything. Someone just whispered in my ear that this event happened. So now I'm going to assume that the police officers acted inappropriately, and the rest of the world should assume that as well. Why? Because I am the smartest and most powerful man in the world.
But it's what's wrong with our politics.
Yeah, of course.
We're both saying it's wrong. Yeah. What's wrong is that in that situation, it wasn't so much about the officer. It was about the first black president, and he felt he had to send a strong message to the black community. Mm-hmm. And I understand that, but you're the president of all the country, all of the United States. And when it comes to Obama, this is why I love Trump. I'm a strong Trump supporter because Trump supports law enforcement. We have to start with the premise. We got to get back to the day of, I don't even know, I guess it's George Floyd. And George Floyd was nobody to hold up as a Boy Scout, as someone to be honored. Things are so twisted. Things are so twisted society-wise. I'm going to be honest with you, straight up honest with you. Things are so twisted in my community, in the black community, that we'd rather hold up a criminal like George Floyd than a police officer that's on the corner keeping our grandmothers, our family members safe. And why don't we like them? Because they're white, and we're told as young black boys, I've been thinking about this a lot, Tom. We're taught instinctively, and it's disgusting, as young black children, to hate the police. And I'm going to keep it real with you today. It's Saturday. I'm here because I want to be here. I'm here because of John. I'm going to keep it real with you. We're told to hate that cop, even if the cop is black, but hate that cop if he's white, when this is the cop trying to keep our community safe. Mm-hmm. They don't pay you guys enough to do what you do. What you do is a calling. You don't get out there and become a cop because you just want a job. You get out there, and whenever there's an incident, this is why we have to give the police the presumption of innocence on any situation. Officers don't wake up and say, oh, honey, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go shoot somebody and kill them today.
Mm-hmm.
What I try and explain to the public is that it's easy, what I call on the radio on 77 WABC. It's easy to Hollywood a situation. It's a Monday morning quarterback. One, we don't even understand. I didn't understand until different law enforcement agencies brought me in, Tom, to their training academies. Even in training, the adrenaline level goes up. And once that adrenaline starts kicking, you've got 5 seconds. When I say 5 seconds, I mean literally about one. Do I pull the trigger or I don't? If I don't pull the trigger, are they going to my wife an hour from now telling her I just took a fatal shot in the head?
Mm-hmm.
That's oftentimes what it comes down to. And here's where the problem lies. This is what I try and explain to the Black community. White cops, Black cops, Asian cops, Latino cops. It's hard when 80% of the call, I know you're not going to say it, but I'm going to say it.
I'll say it.
Okay,
I've worked in the Bronx.
Right.
You're being generous. I don't even know where you're going, but I know where you're going.
Right.
80%
80%
is
of the
probably
call,
a low number.
male Black, male Black,
Mm-hmm.
male Black, male Black, white cop, Black cop, Latino cop, Asian cop. Every call, every day, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
If you do everything, male Black, male Black.
But you can't race card every single. If you turn
You
around,
can't.
if you
You
look
can't.
at if you look at the numbers, somewhere it's a crazy number. It's like around 8 million violent crimes. I'm going to go back. Stats aren't really available for the last 2 or 3 years. So we'll go back to 2021. About 7.5 million violent crimes in the country. You know who committed most of those crimes?
Male Black.
White people.
No.
Yes. The Black community makes up only around 15%.
Right. Give or take.
They are still committing less than half of violent crimes in this country as a whole. We're talking about New York City. New York City is not the same as
The country.
Redneck Tennessee. All right. In Redneck Tennessee, most of the crimes being committed there are white people. Because guess who lives in Redneck Tennessee? White people.
Right.
When you go to the Bronx, you're going to Harlem, you're going to lots of parts of Manhattan, New York City, and whatnot. Those crimes are those numbers are skewed. They go in a different direction. When you have a building like Richmond Plaza in the Bronx, where there's 45 stories, 15 to 18 apartments per story, 4 buildings in a unit, there's 150 to 175,000 people living in one complex, Roberto Clemente State Park, Richmond Plaza, one complex.
You know about?
I know it. I know it very well.
Do you know? Wait, I got to stop you right there.
Hmm?
That's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Something that started out good, and now I wouldn't walk my deceased dog there.
Yeah.
That's how scary it is.
It's brutal.
The Clemente houses off the river.
Yeah, right.
It started out as something good.
A great thing.
I was
Low
there.
income
I was
housing.
there maybe 5 years ago. I wanted to cry
Mhm.
at the crime, at how dirty it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be caught dead there.
Police don't go that. So that happens to be within the precinct that I worked in. That was my sector. So in every command,
Oh boy.
they have sectors. Adam, Boyd, Charlie, David. They're all broken up, and then you get a sector assigned to you after being there for a while. When those sectors came up, and I was able to choose where I wanted to work within that command, that sector was sector mine came up, and I jumped all over it. It was busy. It was active. That was where I worked every day for 2.5 years of just handling that. Literally, Undercliff Avenue, Tremont, Burnside, the houses right there were all there, and it was non-stop.
What's the mindset of an officer in an assignment like that? When what I mean by the mindset. So now your Sunday, whatever your Sunday is,
Mhm.
maybe it's a Wednesday, but your technical Sunday is over.
Your rest
It's time to your rest day is over. It's time to go back to work.
Yep.
You're going into the hood of hoods.
Yep.
What's the mindset of an officer?
For me, I swear on my children. For me, I only did 12 years before I got hurt. I never remember a day going to work and thinking on the drive in that I don't want to go to work today. I loved that job. I loved that department. It was my family. It was my calling. I did it well. I enjoyed it. When I went to work every day and I got a job at 30 Richmond Plaza, apartment 14F, or whatever, pick any random number, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, whoop, going back, that's the plaza. That's where we went. That's what we did. If you were assigned to Sector Adam and you got a job in Richmond Plaza, you went, oh, shit, I don't want to go there. Even the guys that worked in the biggest crap hole in the city of New York didn't want to go into that specific plaza. They didn't want to go there. I loved going there. I didn't mind going there. I knew it. I want to say I knew the people because you didn't know the people.
Did it mean you had to be on alert?
Oh, you couldn't park. So when you drive in there, there's like a rotunda, a circular drive where you can pull in and there's a 10, 20, 30, and 40 of the 4 buildings. And you can stop at either one of them and then you come out. You're not allowed to park up in the plaza. The cops can park in the plaza. If you parked in the plaza, more often than not, you got a brick out of a window or off the roof. We had a toilet bowl. A toilet bowl come off the roof.
Airmail.
A lid of the back of a toilet bowl came off the roof or a high floor right through the RMP window. The RMP is the Radio Motor Patrol car. That's our car. You couldn't park up there. You had to go underneath behind Depot Place where the garbage got picked up. And it was this, think about the garbage for 150,000 people.
And the rats right there by the water.
So we had to park where the garbage was and then come in through the basement and then take an elevator up because otherwise you'd come out and either you had flat tires, you had broken windows, or God forbid, something hit you in the head on the way to the car. So nobody wanted to go there. But there was enough work that in that sector, we were busy.
But Tom, who in their right mind is going to throw a brick off of a rooftop? If it hits a police officer in the head, that officer is dead. You're going to be charged with murder. Who in their right mind does something like that?
They don't think. They forget about even the cop. How about you throw something off the roof of the window and you
hit grandma?
Exactly. You want to hit that cop car, and you crush a grandma, or you hit some little, or that brick hits the ground and takes a little 10-year-old kid's eye out. Like they're young, stupid. But again, it comes back to the mentality of being raised a certain way to say, hey, we don't, you know what actually pisses me off more than people just saying, hey, we hate the police just because they're the police. And we talked about it earlier, was the Uncle Tom comment where people will go up to a black officer and call them Uncle Tom as if what that officer is doing is just going out there, just beating up black people. Like, oh, we're beating on the slaves for the massa. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're keeping everyone in order so that your grandmother is safe. So even though I know you don't give a shit if you walk down to the corner store and there's a hooker or a drug dealer or shots being fired, grandma doesn't want to deal with that. The 10-year-old kid, the single mother with 4 kids, when daddy took off, and you know it because you grew up in it. Your mother, for whatever issues that you guys had growing up, you know your mother did not want to walk down to the corner store and worry about that shit. And the only thing stopping, the only reason that isn't happening all day, every day is the police. So to grab a black cop on the corner and call him Uncle Tom because he's providing for his family, he's making sure your family, just based on what? Based on hate? That, oh, by the way, that was taught.
Self-hatred. But that's what I want to ask you. I know I'm here to answer the questions. but I've been thinking about this for a while and I don't have the answer. So you're street smart. You on the job. All of you guys here, very nice. It's wonderful to be here. It's an experience to see this whole positive law enforcement. I look up, I see a hockey police. You look all over the museum downstairs. It's absolutely beautiful. But here's what I want you to answer for me. And I'm flipping the script. I'm asking the white guy, not the black guy, the white guy. Because I can't get a full answer to this. And I've been thinking about this since I saw John a few weeks ago. How is it instinctively, myself included, because I got the memo, young black males, young black females are taught to instinctively hate the police? Where does that come from? How does that happen? Because I'm really trying to figure this out. See, in my case, thank God I got older and became an independent thinker. Don't put me in that Democrat box. Don't tell me that I can't like Trump because he's doing a good job. Don't tell me that I'm supposed to hate him now because some White House staffer sent out this meme and it portrays the Obamas as monkeys. You know, is it wrong? Of course it's wrong. Is it the end of the world? Should we stop everything? Should we lose point of the message that crime is down under Trump? They're playing up this monkey meme more than they're playing up the mainstream media, more than they're playing up crime, more than they're playing up that Trump shut down the border, more than they're playing up that Trump is cleaning up the country, more than they're playing up that Trump cleaned up Washington, D.C. Nothing else matters.
Well, they have
the media is determined. That's the point. They have nothing else. The media is determined that they are not going to stop until they make Trump the head of the Klan.
Mm-hmm.
But answer this, and I've, to be straight with you, Tom, I've never met somebody more cooler with black people my entire life than Donald Trump. That's the truth. I'm not the only one saying it. Mike Tyson was on Fox News the other day, said exactly the same thing. How many people have to come forward and say 50 Cent basically said the same thing?
It won't matter.
I was in Trump's office when 50 Cent called him one day. I'm standing here the same way you and I talking right now. Trump takes the calls, 50 Cent on the other line. But so maybe you can help me, maybe you can't. How is it instinctively, and how does it make you feel knowing that black males, black females too, are taught instinctively to hate police? And where does that come from?
I think that well, I can't answer the whole thing in general. Honestly, I would love to be able to say, hey, this is why. In my opinion, is social media influencing. When you talk about youth, the youth, they absorb what they're given, and then they have to make a decision whether or not they want to believe what they were told, because we're sheeple. You walk into a door and someone says something, most people just believe it, and they go about their day believing whatever they were just told. You have when Cardi B gets up there, or even Nicki Minaj now is a big supporter of President Trump, they get up there and they say things, and people look up to them and they listen to them, and they, 30 years ago, we didn't have Facebook. We go back to the news media. We got our news through the TV and through a newspaper, right? Those days of getting news
and
like
very
that,
few channels at that.
Yeah,
very few TV channels.
Very few.
2, 4, 7, 9, 11, 13.
And we all knew who the anchors were because they were on every night.
They had real credibility.
But they were on once or twice a day.
That's
so
it.
Now you're getting news for a day. Now we're getting news by the minute. So these young kids and social media, TikTok and all that, they're getting what whoever posted this news wants you to think. I can make you think whatever you, if I have your brain, right? I got you. And I know I can manipulate you. I'm going to have you believing anything I want you to believe to support my cause, whether it's a false narrative or not. And these young kids, either they come from, not all of them, but in general, uneducated. These young kids without jobs, these baristas at Starbucks living in mommy's basement. I don't care what color your skin is, but you're 25 years old and you're living at home in mommy's basement.
And you don't know anything.
You don't know shit. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, what you do know is that what your professors may have pumped into your brains, or maybe even mommy and daddy taught you at home. But you know what? I don't follow the same guidelines that my parents in general. I mean, the general core hard belief of being a good person and doing right by others, that's in my blood. It's in me. It was taught. But some of my political views aren't necessarily the same as my parents. I grew up as a Democrat. My mother, my father.
At one time, I was a Democrat, but I'm now very proud Republican.
And the reason that I changed is because I didn't just go, oh, this is what they want me to believe. I was able to look at something and go, oh, that doesn't make sense. I use common sense. Common sense is been removed from social media, from news reporting,
exactly.
and the young kids. They don't know any better.
Well, I think the one piece that you guys are missing is academia. I think the education system, the public school system, have really become indoctrination camps.
Well,
you saw it last week with the literally forced ICE protests that they had the kids walking out of school and marching, kids that don't even have any concept of the issue. They had them out marching. There's that one viral video where the mother literally went to the office and said, "Get me my kid now. Like I do not want my kid participating in this." And the office was like dragging their feet. We're like, well, we'll try to locate him. Like, try to locate him.
Where's my kid?
That's my kid.
Yeah.
I want my kid now.
But the silent majority has to get involved. Like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So you can sit here and go, oh, 20 people got together and they protested at the Brooklyn Bridge and they stopped traffic for hours, and thousands of people were late for work and couldn't get their kids to school, and all the other 20 people did that. The 300,000 people that they got inconvenienced, they sat in their car like this going, and then tomorrow they're going to sit in their car and go, and they do the same thing. You have to stop that. Now, in this case, in New York City, you can't stop that because we have a mayor that wants to disband the SRG unit, which is the Strategic Response Group. Their very job is to go to protest. Their very job is to make sure that traffic build up at the Brooklyn Bridge, that they march over, and then they go to the Barclays Center and they shut down Flatbush Avenue.
Don't get me started on the mayor,
Their very job is to do that, and he wants to take away that unit that does it.
I'm nice and calm. Please don't get me started. That's the perfect example of uneducated people voting.
Mm-hmm.
Because this con man comes forward and says free, free, free.
Yeah.
And they go for it. And less than a month, give or take, after the election, oh, blame Eric Adams, $12 billion hole. We don't have any money. I can't deliver on anything.
Oh, by the way, 2 years ago, there was an $8 billion surplus.
Right.
And now there's a $12 billion. Oh, by the way,
because of the migrants.
But he knew that.
Right. And he knew that.
Adams even came in and said, look, we have a deficit here.
Right.
And having a new guy come in here that doesn't, first of all, keeping the guy that helped cause that deficit may not be the best answer. So Adams may not have been the answer to this problem.
Well, that was Scott Levato's
point.
But
Mamdani certainly wasn't the answer to the problem. Certainly
at all.
No,
well, not if you ask the hot girls from Mamdani. They think so.
AOC got elected for the same thing.
And he's right. He's right. Oh, he's so cute, Mamdani. But wait a minute. How do you have it both ways? How do you, Mamdani wants the illegals, but then complains the money is gone because the money went to them.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. If you really want to dig into the immigration, my wife is a liberal, and we often have the conversation about free education and medical expenses. Well,
and what does she say?
Well, she thinks that it should all be socialized, like a lot of European countries are.
Like CUNY years ago.
Here's the problem: we don't have the money to maintain handling all the immigration with forget about the housing, and then you got the medical, and then you got the free phones you give them, and then you have the education, and then you have the and
then when it comes to us, sorry, you're evicted. We don't have anything
I honestly think if you looked at every state by state and said how much money is spent for illegal immigration, whether for whatever the money goes to, whether it's education, phones, healthcare, all that, and you took that number and said, well, if we stop going down the path that we're going and we have this much money, we could have socialized medicine. At the very least, we could have our co-pays cut in half. We're not getting free medicine. All right. We cannot be the world police. Pulling out of the UN, great idea. All the money we were sending into the UN, the negotiators that can't negotiate anything, you take that money and you invest it into the country, into the citizens, the legal citizens. You'll see I think you will see a difference.
Keyword legal.
Yeah,
but I want to return to a point. So the country the media, they're having a field day, right? A field day with this monkey meme, right? About the Obamas. So I pointed out on the radio that it was wrong, but at the end of the day, Tom, and I think you're this way, I'm running my race in life. How is that going to help me with where I'm trying to go? And by you selectively having, meaning the masses, that false outrage, or maybe it's real outrage, how does that help you reach your goal? At some point,
depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to make sure that JD Vance is not the next president, then this is what you do. If your goal is what's the best for this country, the survival of this country, then you shut your mouth and you go, it was a really stupid thing. By the way, did you notice the Dow was up over 50,000 points yesterday?
That's right.
So there are certain things that you kind of have to put that into perspective and say, yeah, you know what, this is really great. And this was, and again, I don't think Donald Trump sat there and went, "Ooh, let's make a black racist monkey joke and post it."
Right.
Whoever actually missed that should be fired. There's no excuse that you cannot afford. You cannot afford mishaps like that.
I don't know if they should be fired. I think they should be, because
nope. There's no.
I believe in second chances.
I believe in second chances too. But
well, tell me, you got to remember, it's coming. This is a guy that said you grab him by the pussy, and he kept it moving.
No,
I think
this is
I agree with Dom. I don't think you fire him.
This is
I think you say, hey,
you got to make a point. You make a point. You go, hey, look, someone on my team screwed up big time, and it hurt people.
But Tom,
it hurt people.
But if you fire them, that kid is scarred for life.
Yes. Life. It's an 18 or 19-year-old intern that's
going to be known for posting a racist meme.
Right.
Nah.
I'll never do it
again. Who is it? Who's the person that posted it? No, none of us here know who it is
because he hasn't been fired.
So
yet.
if that person is fired, you wouldn't know it either. That's a big one.
To Dom's point, when you go that male or female, because we don't know if it's a he or she, goes for their next job, it's like, all right, well, give me your resume. You were Donald Trump's staffer. What happened?
Right.
Yeah, I was fired. Why? I was the one that did the Obama meme.
We don't know why it's a he or she, because Congress can't define what a woman or a man is.
Can you believe that?
Congress,
we have a Supreme Court judge, right? First black female.
Yeah.
And at her confirmation hearings, she's a woman. So she knows what a biological woman is, okay? It's real simple, Tom. A woman has certain body features that men don't have, and I'm talking about different things, menstruation and so on.
They have great memories. They remind you of shit you did 30 years ago. I get it, man.
Oh, jeez.
They're never
And
wrong.
we're all divorced.
They've got great memories. I'll tell you that, because my wife doesn't forget a goddamn thing.
Right. And so you could have come in while you were on the job before you retired. You could have had a rough day, and she's like, "Honey, take the garbage out." And it's like, "Honey, I just, can I have 5 minutes to myself?" But
No,
right.
I take the garbage out, and then I take 10 minutes. I know where my bread is buttered.
but I just don't get it. I'm like, I don't get it. So let me just tell you about my Coach Bill. Why I'm here. Why race is never that easily defined in America. The media will tell you it is, but it isn't. In high school, I went to 5 different high schools because I was a troubled young man. And for all of this talk of racism and the racist NYPD, well, why wasn't I tossed and thrown in jail by the NYPD? Because I wasn't bothering anybody, so the cops weren't out there looking for me, okay? So I was told by an African-American guidance counselor in high school, don't waste your time applying to college. You will be dead or in jail.
Oh, my God.
This is what he told me. 2 white men stepped up in my life. The reason why I'm here right now, and in particular on this podcast, is my Coach Bill. I met a number of police officers here today, right? All you guys, great guys, retired guys, right? I walked through the door. Nobody said, "Oh, black guy." Nobody doesn't think like that. A fellow American.
No, we did before you walked in. We saw you out the window. We're like, lock the doors, hide the hubcaps. The black guy's coming.
So my Coach Bill, right? And this is real talk. Reminds me of you, Tom. White guy, looked just like you. Straight up.
This handsome?
This handsome.
Wow.
Wow.
Right,
Look
cool.
just like you. And, when you're a little kid, you don't realize it. We knew he was a police officer. And he would do his job. And then he would come to the hood. He was a cop in the Bronx. And he would come to the hood and coach 100 Black and Latino kids in a football league. None of us had fathers. This is before the day of, of defining the Black family, right? So none of us, before this phenomenon had a name. And, we didn't understand. So you didn't think it was weird because nobody had a father. It was all single Black females, right? And all we had were the police to keep us safe. And, the young guys that got in trouble, the NYPD dealt with them. And we knew if you cross that line, the NYPD is coming and it may not end up nice for you. So the point I'm trying to make is that it kept us in check because you're going to be disciplined in life by somebody. The question is who? And so if you're not disciplined, community, it's going to happen when your child is in a state penitentiary. Is that what you want? No. So Coach Bill saved my life because, he taught us football. He taught us family. He taught us discipline. That's how I first started to learn about discipline. That's when I started to learn through Coach Bill, no excuses in life. None. So the cartoon of the monkey, that's an excuse.
So what do you? What would you attribute that to then? Because what you're saying to me is that you were in a group of people, and let's call the football team. Let's say there's 40 guys, right? 40 kids in the same exact same boat that you're in. Like your team's got 40 kids,
right? And the Jaguars was the name of the team.
The Jaguars. Lots of those kids probably ended up exactly where that college council said you would end up.
Yeah, they did.
Right?
They did.
They probably did.
About 5 years ago, I just want to tell you this. 5 years ago, Coach Bill called the radio station, got a hold of me, and he was upset. He was really upset that he couldn't save all of us. And he was upset about the ones that were in jail or in prison. So you're correct.
So what did you get? But you're in the same, you talk about getting cut from the same cloth. You were cut from the same cloth. You were.
I was.
Single mother. And I'm not speaking out of school here because you basically said everything in the book.
Right.
You had a mother that had some drug issues.
No father.
Mental health issues.
Right.
no father, raised by your grandparents, who, by the way, are
Grandmother,
generation removed.
Grandfather, a heroin addict.
So you are the epitome of the everyday unsuccessful black kid that's going to fall through the cracks and not be remembered, and will be one.
Exactly.
What happened? Why? You know, I get angry about the whole opportunity thing. Like, you had opportunities I didn't have. Bullshit excuse, because
Right.
And I'm basically a great example of it. That I claim to not have had the opportunities to go to school. I did. My parents didn't have the money. They didn't push it on me. I decided that I was going to be a cop. I didn't need to go to college for that. But where you come from, something happened. It wasn't just Coach Bill. Like, how do you wake up every morning and think, oh, I'm not just going to do what the kids in the neighborhood are doing. There's something more for me. There's a JD Vance aura about you that said, oh, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. I was raised and grown up in this shit storm of a life that I have no control of. And I'm sorry if I'm using fucking words that piss people off,
you're describing it
basically
accurately.
You had no chance.
Nothing.
JD Vance had no chance.
I was
Lots of
destined
kids had
to
no
failure.
chances and they failed.
Right.
What did you do differently? Did you wake up one day and just go, you know what? I don't want this. Did you see someone on TV and go, I want that house. I don't want to, like, where was your drive? Where was that?
Well, you know, Tom, it's funny you bring this up because we have a lot in common here, because you describe how you could have went to school, and you said your parents,
they were blue collar,
right.
sanitation, and a stay at home mother, and had nothing. None of my sisters could go to college. Like, it wasn't even a thought. It was but my family was take the test. Sanitation, fire, police, postal.
Right.
That's what we did.
Right.
I did it because I thought it was a good job. I always wanted to be a cop. And then when I got there, I was like, holy, like the greatest. My wife says to me all the time, don't you regret not going to college? And I say, absolutely not. Not for 1 second. Yeah, I do believe, and I really, truly believe that if I went to applied myself more, I was a B+ A student with no application. I didn't study. I took tests when they were out. I didn't do shit. And I did well. Had I applied myself, I don't doubt for a second that I would be in a very different financial situation. I'd be in a different place in the world. But what I wouldn't have is I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't have this job. I wouldn't have what I have. And honestly, I wouldn't give up.
Change a minute.
I wouldn't change 1 second of it to be able to say, oh, and I was a Harvard educated with a Rhodes Scholar and I own Amazon. You know what? I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you,
I'd probably be better friends with you if you owned Amazon. I mean, I was going to put that out there.
I guarantee you, I have a better life than Jeff Bezos does. I have a better life than Elon Musk has, than Donald Trump has. I guarantee that. And I wouldn't risk losing any of that for a fucking course at Kingsborough Community College, let alone an education at Harvard or Yale.
Wow.
So yeah, I am very happy with my choices. And would I like more? Who wouldn't?
Well, to answer your question, as it relates to me, and it's a very good question you just put on the table. I was programmed. I was brainwashed from a young age. My grandmother from Augusta, Georgia, I still remember, and I get very emotional when talking about her, so I can't talk about her long because she never got to see me go to college.
I get it.
And so I still remember on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx when I was in the cadets and I'm marching in the parade, and I look over and there's my grandmother standing there and she's crying like a baby.
So proud.
Because she's so proud. And so my grandmother always said, from when I was a little boy, my grandbaby's going to be somebody. He's special. He's going to be somebody. I don't know how this judge saw this, but in the middle of a custody battle in family court, a lot of bad things have happened in my life. It's all in the book, No Mama's Boy. And I was scared to death, Tom. The judge takes me into his private chamber and he goes, young man, why don't you want to live with your mother? And I went through the reasons. I was scared to death.
Sure. How old were you?
I was no older than 11 years
old.
Oh,
my God.
And so, walking into the court.
That responsibility on an 11-year-old kid, and in front of your mother, no less. Like that is even worse than...
In front of my mother and in front of my grandmother. And they were battling each other for custody of me. My mother wanted me because I was a welfare check, and she wanted to punish her mother. And my grandmother wanted to do the right thing. And my grandmother's health was failing her. She ended up having a double bypass surgery before it was popular and considered common. Back then,
popular. Yeah, I'll take one of those.
No, you know what I mean.
No, I know,
before, considered common.
Yeah. Then it was like, oh my, it was
word.
scary then. And
it was
now
very
it's like,
scary.
we do them all day.
Right. So my grandmother always said he's going to be somebody. My grandbaby's going to be somebody. And then my aunt Inez came along, and my aunt was a social worker for the city of New York. She's only about 5'1", but very spunky woman. And about my aunt Inez, she was always the first Black to move into predominantly white communities. And I didn't understand it growing up. So when my aunt Inez moved into Parkchester, it was 99% white in the Bronx. And back then they had recreational aids in the park, and you go sign a piece of paper, they give you a basketball, football, a game to go play with. Now, many places, Pelham Bay in the Bronx, she moved in, she was always the first Black. And so where I got the nerve to question politicians, to question the Donald Trumps, to question the Hillary Clintons, to question the Nelson Mandelas, the Bill Clintons, it comes from my aunt. And then from when I was a little boy, I kid you not, Tom, she said to me, my aunt, you're not going to end up like the rest of these. And you know the word she would use. And she would say, your little ass is going to college. Okay.
So you had someone kicking you.
And I mean, every time, and oh my God, open school night, she would go do her day job and then say, I'm on my way to school. You better tell me now. Is there anything they're going to tell me that's going to make me angry? Oh, shit. And, I got to fess up what I've done.
Because you don't know what they know. You're like, oh, am I going to admit the stuff they're not even going to talk about?
Right. So my first lesson with a bully in the Bronx, this kid was taking my lunch every day. And then I'm coming home. Here comes the bully. I kid you not. I'm ready to give him my lunch money. My aunt jumps out from the bushes. I had no idea she was there. She says to me, either you whip his ass or I'm going to whip your ass. Now, which one is it going to be?
Wow.
I fought the kid, was never bullied again. And so I'm saddened because my aunt is now, she had surgery about a year ago, and it's not good. She, to see life, what I used to know her as, we're at the tail end of life.
But the memories,
it's not pretty.
Well, I'm going to answer your own question. And the reason that you're here and the reason that you survived is your grandmother. Because if you stayed with your mother, you would be dead, or you'd be in a prison someplace. You would have never got to play football for your coach. Right. Your grandmother saved your life. Your grandmother looked at this and said, hey, all bullshit aside, I know that you have a chance if you stay with me, but if you go home with mom, you don't have a chance.
And so how I looked at college, because I know guys, and I'm not proud of this, Tom, but I have friends right now that write me from prison. And I don't write them back anymore because I don't have the time. But that chapter is closed in my life. I mean, I'm not judging them. However, I didn't tell you to go into McDonald's and rob them with a sawed-off shotgun. These were guys that I grew up with. Mm-hmm. I have friends, one or two of them are in jail for murder. Okay, these were the kids I grew up with. These guys were no joke. Mm-hmm. And so when it came time, I always knew. So like I would get in trouble with my friends as a young adult because we would drive around and go to Yonkers, play basketball, go to Rockland County where I lived to play basketball. And they would say, oh, well, the government owes me this housing and I'm like, she's my friend. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's what they hear at home, though.
Nobody owes you anything. Who's going to pay for that? Mm-hmm.
They owe that because mom and dad know that someone down the street is getting $1,500 a month for blah, and they're
for Section 8.
If you're getting it, then I should get it.
Right? But life don't work that way. Well, and the sooner you wake up from that, nobody owes you diddly squat.
But if you want to live the rest of your life in an apartment building in the Bronx and Section 8 housing, and that's okay for you, that's fine. That's right. If you want a little bit more, you got to do a little bit more.
Right.
There's only so much.
And if you want a lot more,
you got to do a lot. And that's a big problem with what I think we're in. And we talk about, how we can make things better. You can make things better. Tough love, right? We talked about tough love.
Right.
Is tough love. The government needs tough love. You can't just give everything. It's not everyone doesn't get a trophy. You can't just hand everything away.
Right.
Oh, internet and phone and this and that and free this and free. Mamdani, free. Guess what? Nothing's free. Nothing's free. Your free bus that you get your tag for cost me.
That's right.
I get it.
But check out how this works, Tom. So my coach Bill, right? We did good on the Jaguars, right? So there'd be a trophy ceremony. You don't understand this as a kid. But at 200 and I think 39th, right off of Broadway and right in the Bronx before you hit Riverdale, there's an Irish pub near Manhattan College. My wife retired from Manhattan College as a administrator. And the Irish pub, it's been there for what, 40 years?
Is it on?
It's right off of Broadway.
It's on that Ambach Beal.
Well,
Ambach Beal is the road that goes like this.
Well, it's right across the street from a car dealership. But check this out. So for these all Black and Latino kids, every year, to my knowledge, the pub would donate their services and we would have our award ceremony there. So it does take a village to raise a child. So while you're sitting around crying about racism, so then why did that Irish pub open its door for all Black kids to come in there for an award ceremony? Yes, we had our coach Bill who fronted us.
And he certainly had a connection there to make that happen. But at the end of the day, is the owner gave back to the community.
That's right. That's right.
And
at the end of the day.
And you can guys that anyway. Oh, was he prepping future customers, and maybe there'll be customers who it doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact that he's here now, and he provided that space, and there's these kids that came from not much, and they walked in this door and they got something, and they patted on the back, and they felt like, hey, you know what, that you were part of something. And sport does that, though. Sport does that, and unfortunately, racism exists in sport as well. And we talked a little earlier about the way some young Black folks are raised and it's beating their head. Do you remember the movie Rudy? You see the movie Rudy?
Yes, about the football player?
Football kid, yeah.
Every time I watch Rudy, I start crying.
Well, the character, and actually you look a little like Rock. The character, the football player, the guy that was managing the stadium.
That blew his career.
Why'd you look like him, Tom? Because he's Black? That's racist, Tom.
Because he's bald.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Just keeping you in check.
Oh, talk about second chances, and that guy went to jail for murder.
But the speech he gave Rudy.
The speech he gave, he said, I never saw a game from the field because I was too full of anger and hate. Whatever he said.
That's a speech for the Black
that
community
really
in particular.
That hit home. Now, I will never portend to try to understand walking in the shoes of a Black person the same way I wouldn't expect you to understand walking in the shoes of a cop. When we turn around, cops will say it all the time, unless you've walked a mile in my shoes, or the meme that's bouncing around now is unless you fought with a guy in an alleyway in the dark with a gun, then you don't know shit about shit. Don't tell me how to do my job. I can't try to imagine living as a Black person in New York City or anywhere for that matter, and getting the side eye, the look, or whatever else. I mean, there's a lot of racism everywhere. Not just here.
But Tom, do you think I stopped to look if somebody's giving me the side eye,
or
do you think I'm running my race?
But here's the thing, though: if you turn around and you make that argument to me that you are being treated differently, I can't even have the conversation because
I have not been treated differently as an American. Everywhere I go, I travel the country as a public speaker, and this sounds weird. I have never encountered racism directly myself. I've been in places in Idaho where I'm the only Black face for miles.
The whole state.
And people treated me with enormous respect. So now is it because they know I'm a journalist, a talk show? I don't know. But before they find out what I do, they weren't treating me any differently.
It's character. You basically
judge
me on my character.
It's character. And so, but I want to go back to one of the questions you asked me. So I was programmed every single time. You're going to college. And what my aunt would say, I'd say, hi, auntie, can I do that? Oh, shut up. Your little ass is going to college. This is what she would say to me all the time. So when I was 18 years old, guess what? Your little ass is going to college became a reality.
It wasn't even a thought.
And it wasn't even a thought.
You knew you were going.
And here was the truth. I looked at it this way. I had to play a game with myself. I said, well, Dominic, let's look at it realistically. I kid you not, Tom. This is straight up real talk. Most of your friends are upstate anyway, in prison. So, for real. Elmira, the one outside of Batavia, New York.
Rome, New York.
Yeah, Rome, New York. So most of your friends are in prison anyway. So you might as well go upstate too. But your upstate will be going to college. Mm-hmm. So here's real talk.
Different jail.
Different jail. So here's real talk. Straight talk. I was going to be good at something. I was either going to be one of the best drug dealers ever, or I was going to be one of the best journalists ever. And thank God I was programmed, law enforcement officers like yourself, to get me to this path to make the right choice. So I stand on the shoulders of my coach, Bill. He was, in effect, my father. I don't even think he knows that. A New York City white police officer. So don't run the bullshit to me about racism and you can't get opportunity. I'm not trying to hear that bullshit. Mm-hmm. Go tell that bullshit to somebody that'll listen to it. Not to me. No excuses. You don't make it. Go take your ass in the mirror and look in the mirror and blame your fucking self for why you didn't make it. Because that's the only person to blame. The state of New York, generous taxpayers, yes, I had to take out student loans. The state of New York, I had it a little better than you did. The state of New York said to me, basically, you want to go to college? Come go to college. We'll give you financial aid. We'll give you a stipend so you have something to eat. We'll give you a meal plan, right? But some people abuse the privilege. So you have millions that have abused financial aid, and they make it bad for everybody else. But let me tell you how wise this decision was. So the state of New York, the generosity of the people of the country, fronted me, took this kid from the Throgs Neck houses in the projects and sent me to Cortland, New York. I got off the bus. There were like 8 black students in the entire school. But again, I'm running my race. Mm-hmm. I don't care how many black or Latino. I don't care.
I'm not here for that.
I'm not here for that. I'm here for this college degree because I'm not going back to the projects. That was the only thing that I was determined. And so I ended up graduating in 3 years, not because I'm smart. I thought I was the dumbest kid to ever graduate from the New York City public school system because of all the bad things that had happened in my life, because of my mother's paranoid schizophrenia. I just didn't think that I didn't think I could compete. And I got there and found out that if you just believe in yourself a little bit, I owed it to Coach Bill to give it a shot. I owed it to every police officer, white and black, that put on that badge every day to make sure that my little black ass was safe in the hood and risked their lives. And so I ended up graduating in 3 years because I ended up loving Cortland, New York, and didn't come a rural.
There's not much to love in Cortland, New York.
Right. There's not much. There's not much.
Snow and deer.
The snow and deer.
If you want to love deer, that's fine.
Right. But I loved it. No offense, because it wasn't New York City. I'd had enough of urban life.
Yeah.
And so, okay, you want to talk racism?
Yeah, so you switched it up and went to Syracuse.
And then after that.
How much further away from the city can I get? Can I go to Canada? No, you can go to Syracuse.
Right.
It's right next door.
Right. But then what happened was I found out that Syracuse had one of the best journalism schools in the country, right? So you talk about perseverance, the Newhouse School. I applied, had a 3.0. You mentioned your average earlier. 3.0 grade point average. They said, we're not interested. I could have said, racism. There were no black graduate students. I could have said, no, I got to be better. What do I got to do to knock down that door? That's only, I don't care about some meme of some goddamn monkeys. What am I going to do to get to where I need to go? So that's what I say to you right now. I'm all about generational wealth, first generation success story. Straight talk. How do I get my grandkids to Ivy League institutions? And how do I make sure I want them to own a business in their 20s? That's where my head is. They're going to work. They're going to work for it. But how do I make sure that they're set up? I'm not focusing on, Trump. How could you be down with Trump and you're a black man? Because he's a great president. That's why I'm down with him. Look at what we had with Biden. How could anybody in their right mind say Biden was a good president? He opened the gates and said, go to America and take everything.
Everyone come in.
And Maria, you can have 15 babies. We'll pay for it with Medicaid. Juan, Jose, whatever your name may be, you may have a criminal record. We don't know about your criminal record. Hey, Hey, Lincoln Riley in Georgia. Sorry what happened to that young lady.
Too
She
bad.
got raped, and the guy decided he just wanted to have sex with her, and then he beat her head in and bashed her. Then we go to the Maryland case. Then we go to the case where the girl was raped in the Queens Park.
The girl in Texas killed in a bathtub in her own house. Like there's
countless.
There's
the girl in Houston. Those two monsters left her body. Near the lake,
and then under a train track. Another one,
right.
At some point, you say, "Well, we can't stop it." But how could you be against getting rid of those guys? So when you talk, like right now, what's going on in Minneapolis? It all comes back to ICE. Right? ICE isn't new. Immigration's not new in this country. The difference, what's new, is Trump. Biden, Trump won 2 Obamas, 2 Bushes, 2 Clintons. The same policy existed. A local law enforcement agency scooped somebody up for a crime. There was a flag on it for an immigration status. They were held. ICE came in. They took them out and they left. Now, when you stop that, what happens is ICE has to come into that location. Oh, he's gone. Now we got to go find him. And then we go knock on your door. But you're there, but so is Juan, Bill, Joe, and Mary. And guess what? We're here for you, but we're taking all of them. We can't. So if you just cooperated with what's going on here, we're not rewriting anything here. We're actually just following status quo of history. We're not trying to change it. It's a good policy. If you come in illegally, we're going to send you out. End of story. When Bill Clinton sent in the ICE into the closet, and that little kid took him out of the closet. There were pictures everywhere. Guys with AR-15s in the closet going in, saying, "Hey, we're taking this guy out." No one gave a shit. Why? Because it was Bill Clinton. The guy walked on water.
Or Obama. Obama has done more deportations than any other president. But because he was slick and a brother and did it with a smile, it was okay. But because it's Trump, I don't like his personality. I don't like what he tweets. It's the end of the world. Yeah. It's the end of the world.
I like the end results.
Let me put it to you this way, Tom. Okay, you and I are sitting here together right now, right? You think I'd be sitting here with you if I thought you were a racist?
If I was a racist, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Right, I wouldn't ask. Okay, but let's put it on me. Let's put it on me. If you were a racist, would I be sitting here?
I would hope not.
Right. Okay.
I would hope not.
So when I've sat with Trump, the times I've sat with him, right? You don't think that I'd be able to tell the reason why I've been so successful as a journalist, I'm good at reading somebody in 15 seconds. I can tell you politics. I can tell everything I need to know. I guess that's an instinct that cops have.
Yes.
So with Trump, I've met with him, been in a room with him privately several times. You don't think I would know if that man was a racist? You don't think I would know that? You don't think he would slip and say something to me that would indicate that he was a racist? I am telling you, Trump is as cool as they come.
Mm-hmm. All right, married to an immigrant.
Trump talks like every other man. So Obama did the stunt of having the beer with the police officer. Trump is the guy that you really want to have a beer with.
Yeah, he's the guy that he'll have his Diet Coke, but you'll actually enjoy it. You'll have this isn't a photo op bullshit. Right. This is a regular guy just hanging out bullshit.
Right.
But even that Billy Bush stuff, we told you, I grabbed him by the lock, and I said it the minute it happened, and then they used the term locker room talk afterwards. We all do it. This bravado, you're hanging out with your buddies someplace, and and I use the women as an excuse.
I play football, so
I
know.
Ladies aren't around, and you're talking about whatever. You're saying stupid shit. Yeah, we're breaking balls. We don't. Are we going out raping people? No.
Right.
Is he? No. I can't. And we all do it.
Tom, let me put it to you this way.
Especially in business. Business is built.
Let me put it to you this way. So, my first year of high school, before my family couldn't afford it, I went to Cardinal Hayes High School on the Grand Concourse.
I know
right?
Hayes.
And so played football. I think it's still all male, right? When we would have dances, they would have the girls from Mount St. Ursula or Cardinal Spellman. I think the Cardinal Spellman at the time was all girls. Mm-hmm. Now it's mixed. They would bust the girls in for the dances. Of course, the brothers and sisters are standing there watching our every move. Now, we played football, right? You think, now we were used to not seeing girls all day long, right? The librarian
was hot.
Was hot.
Everyone thought the librarian was hot because she was the only woman.
The heavyset librarian.
Meanwhile, she looked like John.
It was either that or Sister Mary Catherine. But if you had impure thoughts about Sister Mary Catherine,
no. So the librarian was like, "Oh my God, she's attractive." So now just imagine, Tom, Cardinal Hayes High School, a bunch of boys, right, and when I used to seeing girls all day, and now. What do you think we said about the young ladies coming to the dance?
Of course. Now you put a microphone in there, and then your grandmother would have beat your ass for the stuff that you were saying literally in front of your friends, knowing that it meant nothing and it was going nowhere.
But my grandmother was the type, right? You said beat your ass. My grandmother was the type because I was kind of soft. I wasn't one of these. But you mentioned my upbringing. I wasn't allowed to even dress the way that the thug boys dressed because my family said we don't even want to confuse the police officers. I wasn't allowed to dress like that. I would cry like a baby. And if I was in the middle of a fight and my grandmother's in the house and we lived on the level where she could, on the same level as the entrance to come out of the building, 365 East 184th Street. I'm a big Powell kid. I was in Powell because she didn't have any money, and Powell exposed me to television. My grandmother, I can tell you 2 times, she ran outside with just her bra on to come to her grandbaby's aid. So she was not having it, you know? And so all I can tell you is I'm going to be law enforcement, 1,000% law enforcement to the day I die. And to all the public, but in particular to the Black community, I strongly suggest that you deal with the attitude adjustment and stop with the bullshit, because every cop is not your damn enemy. That same cop that you're giving hell to might be the cop, God forbid, that takes a bullet responding to a call to save your life.
Sure.
So like the FDNY, right? I'm like all these other little kids. And this is before the custody battle. This is in the projects, the Patterson houses. My mother's watching All My Children. I don't think All My Children's on anymore. And
Susan
I'm
Lucci.
Yeah, Susan Lucci. And I'm playing with sparkles under the bed. And this is one of these cheap beds that's all like cotton, not even really
polyester. It burns very
quickly.
Easily. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I like the sparkle. She's on the edge of the bed watching All My Children. All of a sudden, whoop, is in the projects.
Oh no!
Woof. So now there's a fire. My aunt Inez is living with my mother, 2-bedroom apartment, and I pick up the phone and I remember saying to 911, "Lady, fire, fire." And she said, "Young man, how old are you?" And I told her, and she said, "Do you know your address?" And I told her the address. And then I said, "Okay, I gotta go. Don't you know, Tom, within 3 minutes, here comes the FDNY. They didn't say Black housing project. We'll get there when we get there. What they did do is they said, there's a little boy in that apartment. Some goddamn firefighter ran up 10 flights of stairs who happened to be white with that damn gear on his back. He could have had a heart attack. Ran up 10 flights of stairs because the call came in that there's a little boy in the apartment. I wasn't no longer in the apartment. So are those firefighters racist? Those white firefighters that came to the projects, the middle of an all-Black project? And I'll ask you a question. Why is it no white people around? Why is it in Black projects there's feces in the elevator and urine in the elevator and urine on the staircase? Why is that? You can't blame the white man for that. Why is that?
They have no respect for the community that they live in, so
or
they have no
for
themselves, or the apartment they live in. And again, that comes back to the parenting.
It's also having skin in the game.
It's all connected, though. I mean, there's no skin in the game. If you live in an apartment building and you're taking a shit in the elevator, that you have all the skin in the game in the world because you live in there. You have to take that elevator. You have to take those stairs. Why are you pissing in the stairs? Because
you're going to blame the white man for that.
I don't know who would, but there's always going to be blame. And it's very easy to blame the people that you may dislike or you disagree with, or blame the people that your friends are telling you you're supposed to blame. Accountability. How about you? Like it goes back to using your own brain. You function, make your own assessment.
So maybe I'm just cut different. Maybe that's what it is.
And that keeps coming back to like, what the hell? What happened to you? That's so. I mean, and so your success story is a great story. It's not original. There's lots of people that came from the shit.
And thank you for making that
and they've done amazing things.
Yes.
You stand out because you can call yourself a survivor. You can go, hey, look, I was dealt that same hand. I decided that I wanted better, and you decided to do this. Not because I'm Black.
But you can't run the bullshit to me. So you have members of the Black community. Oh, you Uncle Tom. When I'm in the middle of Idaho somewhere talking to kids, or when I'm in the middle of Harlem on a Saturday morning, I work for billionaires, John Katsimatidis and Margot Katsimatidis. They're wonderful people. They give back a lot to the community, in particular to communities of color, but to everybody. So when I'm at the PAL Center, 50 years ago, PAL saved my life. PAL, more than 50 years ago, PAL gave me my first exposure to television. As a little boy, PAL took me to the TV show Wonderama. Do you remember Wonderama?
Sure.
Bob McAllister.
Police Athletic League, by the way. And get folks chiming in from across the country. The PAL is the Police Athletic League, referred to as PAL. So
right. And
so
I got into the studio. I saw Bob McAllister, and I thought I saw God. And I looked at all the lights, and I said, "This is what I want to do." And 50 years later, this is what I'm doing. Because
that impressionable young mind looked at that, and and again, that you went to that road and you went to that studio, and then someone else, the kid you were hanging out with the day before, when you went to the studio from the PAL, he went and hung out with his cousin in the alleyway somewhere slinging, and he was exposed to that, or she was exposed to that, and you were exposed to that. What you were exposed, you found that.
But what me and my friends did, most of the time, when there was the blackout, Fordham Road is 3 blocks away. Guys were yelling, "Let's go get paid." Those of us that had some common sense were like, "Nope, I'm not going near that. Not going near that.
Right on my steps."
That's right, because you knew that the riot squads were coming to protect the businesses.
It's funny you say that, because I especially with you, I think it comes down to mindset and attitude, and how you present yourself. And we've all done traffic stops a lot of times. Within that first 10 seconds, you know if you're issuing or not. I had, our sorry officer, I'm running to work, whatever. And then I had one guy come up to me. I pulled next to him. And he goes, "What?" So,
but that was also, like you said earlier, that first assessment. When you meet somebody, you know right away. So when you said your grandmother wouldn't let you dress like the Thug Boys, because the perception that is being made by others, the minute you walk in the door, whether you're a young girl that's seductively dressed and then something bad happens to you, it's not deserved, it's not warranted, it's not anything. But other people will look and go, well, Cardi B is not a role model. She might be a very lovely person. I don't know. And my issue with her and others like her are that I have a daughter. Now, my daughter is smart enough to know that she's not impressionable by that, but it still irks me that so many people look up to some of these other rappers and politicians that are spewing the shit, and kids look up to that, and you go, no. Like, that's the first impression they have, is that your pants were down to your ankles and your hat was on sideways, and you
don't get me started.
You got that look.
Don't get me started. Please don't get me started.
You're entitled to dress any way you want.
But my son has epilepsy and a learning disability. If he ever used the N-word in front of me, or my daughter, they never would. If my son ever came home with his jeans hanging off, he know there would be hell to pay. We act like regular people. We don't do that here. And I mentor a lot of kids from the projects that come up to my house and so on. I have kids when I used to have a house in Pennsylvania in the Poconos, not far, from where your organization is. I would bring them out because I would try my best. So the same clowns that call me an Uncle Tom, and I know what that's about. It's success that you don't understand. And so because I'm successful, and because I've found a way out of no way, and because I can talk to somebody that necessarily is not the same as me, that means I'm an Uncle Tom? No, it's time for you to wake up.
It should be an inspiration and not an insult.
But it's not.
It should be wow, okay, so we're from the same place. We have the same shitty situation, and you are where you are. And success is defined by many angles. It's not what you have in the bank, or the apartment that you have, or the house you have, or how great you're. Success in general is just are you a good person? Have you done good things? Are you raising your kids right? Or you could be broke as piss and still be successful. Your story is a success story. Is an inspiration. It shouldn't be a negative. You turn it into a negative, like, oh, look, you came from where you came, and you've made sacrifices, and you made decisions. Well, because it's an industry that's, listen, most major industry, the big ones, are run by old white guys. It's just a matter. It is big
Well-
oil, pharma, tobacco, whatever. You can pick it. They're run by all white guys, and you're a black guy that's successful, and all of a sudden you kiss their ass. No,
Right.
I know the game. I
And-
played it well. I'm
and-
successful.
And if you got a problem with it being run by all white guys, change it.
Do something,
Do something. Get to that level.
or don't. But don't
Right.
don't shit on me because
Right.
I decided to go down this road
Right.
and be successful, or I had a choice, or be bitter and angry, and then teach my kids to be bitter and angry of all the things
No,
they didn't have. Let's
no,
work on the things that we
no.
do have,
Right.
and what we can inspire those kids to be.
But let me tell you about attitude adjustment. Attitude adjustment, even for myself. One day, and I saw this has never happened since then. Sometimes I get pulled over for speeding to get to the studio, speeding to get to an event, whatever the case may be. And so I had a bad attitude that day. And I gave the officer, this the NYPD, I gave him the what? Yeah, after I had rolled down the window. I got my hands, what? And this officer embarrassed the fuck out of me for life. You know what he said, Tom? The windows rolled down. What? He goes, excuse me. Now, I haven't given him my ID or anything yet. He knows who I am. He goes, excuse me, Mr. Carter. Do you have that same attitude with your viewers on TV? And I said, oh, shit. All I felt that big. I said, officer, let me apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm having a bad day.
Of course.
He said, Mr. Carter, I understand. Please don't make this a legal red. I think I made a legal red turn or something like that, or was speeding. Who knows? So I learned a lesson from that. And, you know, what I say to the community, and I know I'm talking too much, but what I say to the community is put yourself in the cop's shoe. You get pulled over on a traffic stop in the middle of the night. That cop doesn't know you or what you may have in that car. They don't know what's going on. But I just want to make this point, Tom. I'm here for one reason and one reason only, for my love of law enforcement. And I strongly suggest to communities of color that you have an attitude adjustment and change the way, because let's keep it real. When Tyrone is whipping your ass or doing something or robbing you, who are you calling?
Mm-hmm.
The detectives are coming to lock Tyrone's ass up for robbing you or doing what? Who else is going to get the job done? Stop teaching your children to hate the police. It's counterproductive. You're only slicing your own throat. It really is that simple.
Of course.
And the men and women of law enforcement of this country are the ultimate heroes that put their lives on the line every day. That's why I'm here right now.
The booth is giving me a 5. Are you going to stick around for a little bit? We're going to take a 5-minute break. Are you going to stick around for a few minutes?
Around.
Good.
I'm
I have a
stick
couple
around.
of really cool interview questions for
Okay.
For a reporter I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
So, Mo, you're going to take us to a 5-minute break?
Yeah,
It's
5 minutes.
literally, it's going to be 5. Eat your bagel, take your piss, and then get back in the booth.
Got
all
it.
right?
Come on.
views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Dun, dun. Dun, dun.
And now you're back.
Now I'm back. All right, guys, we're back. Dominic, I can't thank you enough. This has been really great. I love sharing our opinions with folks that support what we're doing. Obviously, you're a supporter of law enforcement. We love what you do. I mean, everyone here has either listened or watched your show. Like I said, I grew up on New York One, and we could literally probably spend 3 days nonstop talking about all the awful things that are happening in this country and try to lay blame, and even if you didn't want to lay blame, just have opinions on how to fix it. And we could spend a lot of time on doing that, and that's just going to get boring and repetitious. So,
but I will answer anything you want. But this should all start with Democrats stop demonizing ICE, because you're going to get these agents killed. They're only doing their jobs. Number two, you're making their jobs impossible. Number three, you're getting innocent bystanders hurt and killed. You have the Preddy situation. You have the woman where if they didn't interfere with ICE, they would be alive today.
Absolutely. And Florida actually took a huge step with their HALO law. So they just passed it. It's going into effect now, which basically gives them a 25-foot radius from law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders that you're not allowed to interfere with them while they're doing their duty for 25 feet. And besides you being arrested, and it's a class 2 misdemeanor, if you use a recording device while you're interfering with them, whether a phone or a video recorder, obviously it's a phone, they can take the phone. And I think it's going to be, I think in Florida is not a big of a problem, obviously, than places like Chicago and Minneapolis and other Democrat-run cities that are having this issue. But it's a great starter. And I hopefully it takes some traction, and other municipalities will be able to do this and just give them the space they need to effectively do their job without worrying about. I'm not saying that 25-foot radius is going to give you an absolute safety barrier, but at the very least, it gives the other officers some legal grounds when they back people up, because people say, "Oh, back up," and they don't want to back up, and then becomes
First Amendment.
So now we have something. We go, no. There's the law is, if you're not 25 feet from this, we will arrest you. Now we have something concrete,
at least in Florida,
that we hope we never use.
And by the way,
we don't want to use this.
Did you hear with the liberal women protesters? Excuse me. Sometimes liberals are the worst. Did you hear what they're calling?
Oh, not sometimes.
Did you guys hear what they're calling the black ICE officers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's horrible.
I don't get it.
Uncle Tom would be the nicest term. These are liberals.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to go down the ICE road because I'll take you away from your questions. But I will
say house brother.
But I will say this. I will say this. If every state really cared about their citizens, listen, every branch of law enforcement, every version of law enforcement has a very specific task, and they're good at what they do. ICE's task is not crowd control. That's not their specialty. They're not specializing in general policing.
Well, that's why they train. They're trying to work on the training,
but they don't know that he shouldn't even be bothered with that.
No,
man.
it's something though.
ICE is a hit squad. ICE is, here's the picture. Go get the guy. That's
Correct.
ICE.
Correct.
If these politicians and these leaders really cared about their constituency, they really cared about their citizens, they would task the police that are trained in that, meaning the state police and the local police, and then have ICE coordinate with the police and say, hey, we have this warrant, and this warrant to serve. These are the addresses we're going to be at. And then have the local police and the state police, the people that are responsible directly to the citizens of that state, flanking ICE, saying, all right, get in that house, get this guy or girl, and get out. We got the people here. We don't want you dealing with our citizens.
There's an easier solution.
No, Tommy, that solves it.
No,
bro.
No. You're adding more problems to it. The easiest solution here is status quo. When you have somebody that's being detained that has the ICE warrant that pops, just turn them over. End of story. We'll never have to knock on another door in this neighborhood if we stand true to our beliefs, which is we're only taking those that are convicted or suspected of a crime that's non-immigration related, which means if you get arrested as a suspect of a crime and you're in the system, you're going back to wherever you came from. If you're actually convicted of a crime in that system, you're going back. We will not have to knock on your door and take you and your brother and your sister and your kids out if if the police just hand you over the one guy we're looking for, Joe. And if the police have Joe and they give us Joe, we're done here. If you don't give us Joe, we have to go to Joe's house. And then Joe's wife, 3 brothers, and 2 grandkids are all going too because they're here illegal as well. We will not have to go in your neighborhood if we just go to the federal building where the kid is.
All right, don't go down the ice road because you're down to 3 minutes.
All right.
Get it going, Tom.
Here it goes. Here it goes. Ready? Anytime in history, you have the opportunity to spend 1 hour with anyone, have an interview, an honest interview where they have to answer the question truthfully to their knowledge. There's no holds barred. You get 1 hour to interview any human being. If it's 100 years ago, they're still here right now. Who are you interviewing and why?
Man, that's deep. That's deep.
Right? You got one shot. So people, the genie in the bottle. Well, I'd serve world hunger. I'd solve world. No. You can interview. You're an interviewer. This is your job. What's your dream? Like, I got this person for 1 hour, no holds barred, has to answer every question truthfully. Who are you talking to?
Honestly, President Trump. Here's why. But aboard Air Force One.
Nope, that's a bullshit answer.
No, aboard Air Force One.
You can get that now.
But no.
Yes, you can.
No. The one thing I haven't done in life has been I haven't been on Air Force One. But there's a catch. Because in radio, you hear the noise. If you see when he's on Air Force One, you can't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem. How would I get clear audio? But a straight hour with him. And let me just tell you why. You, Mr. President, you did the impossible. These motherfuckers did everything they can do and then some to fucking throw you in jail. And you beat all of these fucking clowns. Look at that phony ass prosecutor in Georgia. How you made mince meat out of her and her boo.
Is that Forney?
Fonny, yeah, and her little boyfriend, right?
Little boy toy.
Yeah, her little boy toy, right? Go around the country in terms of how Mr. President, real talk. No, because he's the most fascinating person. Okay. How does one come back from the political dead? They tried to take this man out.
Yeah.
And look
Not
at
just
him now.
political dead.
Right.
Like
dead.
They tried to kill him
everything.
on every avenue.
And so him, because I can't think of it, who would you want to? I find him fascinating.
Tommy's going to say Jesus.
No, I'm asking the question. Honestly, I didn't even think about myself. You're the interviewer. I wasn't expecting Trump. I was expecting something more deep, man.
I found Cardinal O'Connor fascinating when I got to interview him. I found Nelson Mandela fascinating. Nelson Mandela taught me something about life.
I'm talking like Hitler or like Jesus. Like, since you have the history of the world in front of you, and you're going to pick the guy that's alive just a couple thousand miles away? Come on.
No, for an hour interview.
1 hour full.
Yeah, but Tommy, if you think about the world that he lives in and the things that, his world specifically, meaning Dom's, I mean, like, that's
more pertinent.
Yeah, that's the guy, man. I mean, we're
you don't
never
want to talk to like Lee Harvey.
No, listen, we're never
find out if he actually pulled the trigger.
We're never gonna have a president like this in our lifetime, if ever.
Right.
If ever.
Right.
I mean, when you look back, history is going to be more kind to President Trump than
history
now.
will.
It wouldn't be Obama, because I would say, come on, man, you ran game. You full of shit. Just like I know you full of shit. It wouldn't be him. Right. Be a short interview. It would be Trump. Mr. President, how in the hell does one do what you did and survive?
Your father?
Swimming that Shark Tank.
Your father? You wouldn't want to talk to you? Say a legitimate,
father?
Like a legitimate, like, Dad, what happened?
First of all, I wouldn't call him Dad. All he was a sperm donor. Why the fuck would I want to interview him?
I just
my father.
I think President Trump was like a.
My father is a piece of shit. I was made standing up in a closet at a party. Why would I want to talk to him? Now, granted, we all make mistakes. I'm far from perfect. But, dude, you don't have to walk away from me the way you did. But life has a way
so
of
you would want that
score.
answer from him for true?
Fuck him and fuck his answers.
Just be honest.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we're way. I have young people today, Tom, that stop me and they say, I'm your half brother, your half sister. I don't mean to offend them. If you wasn't down with me when I was struggling, I ain't down with you now. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yeah, the woodwork opens up, right?
Right. Oh yeah, I got like 5 or 6 people. I'm your brother. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Al Roker was like, "You're my nephew." All right, okay, Uncle Al. We'll call him Uncle Al.
But my world is politics, so that's what I find the most fascinating.
All right.
That's the Yoda of our political generation.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine, like right now? Can you imagine having a 1 hour with Trump right now, where he's going to be absolute no punches hold, full disclosure, complete.
Bill Maher got that, and he says I guess they have the equivalent to like an NDA, like you really can't talk about what they.
Oh really?
Yeah,
right.
But he said he wishes that Trump would let him, because if Trump let him talk about the things they talked about and the way they talked about, people would see the side that he saw of him, and it would make
Bill Maher.
Yeah,
right. So he blew Bill Maher's mind. Right, Trump did. I'm telling you, based on the private conversations that I've had with Trump, if I could put that shit out publicly and talk to him for an hour, he's a fascinating man.
Interesting.
And he's a genius.
He's not backing down.
And anybody, and what I like he didn't apologize for the monkey comment.
Nope.
I respect that. I'm the president of the United States. I'm not bending for anybody. Fuck all of y'all.
Interesting. All right.
I mean, I would have to finesse that on the radio, but
or just let it fly.
When can we see you? Listen to you on 770? Is that
weekdays 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, weeknights midnight to 1 a.m. Eastern time, and on Sundays from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m.
That's busy.
Busy.
Very good, man.
But you know what? But I'm thankful, and the reason why I'm thankful, man, straight up, cops put me in this position where, and the Casamatides, they have taught me hard work, how to work. No bullshit, no excuses. So I work 6 days a week, but nobody works harder than they do. And they're billionaires. Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot from them.
Very good.
And New York City police officers. You guys do overtime, forced to do overtime, railroaded in all these trials. Look at what happened to Derek Chauvin. That shit is a disgrace. Mm-hmm. That man is in jail. Say George Floyd, I don't want to get started. Okay.
You're supposed to bless yourself when you mention his name, right?
But but this man is in jail. Mm-hmm. Lost his wife, been shanked and stabbed almost 30 times on some bullshit because some video with this junkie, this man that's high as a kite is saying mama, and he can't breathe. When his training said, when you're dealing with an unruly person like this, you put your knee on the back. And so it did look like it was close to the neck, but
and Floyd's body was ravaged with drugs, his kidneys, his liver. None of that shit was work. I mean,
and you know what? Here's the truth. Nobody wants to hear this. Here's the truth. Mr. Floyd would have been dead less than 6 weeks, give or take, after that, right? And see, I really shouldn't say this,
it's a slippery road, and
but his life, I'm gonna give you the political version. I can't say what I really want to say. His life didn't amount to much the day before he died, but he's supposed to be worth $20 million the day after.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I love this guy.
Is what it is. You have anything to wrap up?
Well, I mean, if you want to hit John's plugs real quick. I got a couple
John, that would be www.lineofdutycigars.com, right, John?
I let you get it off. Don't worry. I was gonna let you get your plug today. You did very good today, Tommy. I'm gonna let you get it. No,
I think I only cursed twice.
911specialtiesstore.com. 911 Specialties, 182 High Street, Nutley, New Jersey. Lovely. John, give your own plug. Go ahead.
You did it.
No, what do you do? What do you do, John? Say it.
Anything.
T-shirts, metal shields, gold cards, promotional products, special gifts for special professions.
That's not all he does. That's not all he does. He gives. See, John is a very modest guy.
If you have a fashion emergency, come to 182 High Street in Nutley, New Jersey. 911 Specialties.
See, that's how you do a plug.
John Joe Friday Mancini. 911 Specialties for all your fashion emergencies.
Hold on. I'll tell you right now, if you have a fashion emergency, the last guy you want to get advice from is fucking Burke. Right? This guy, do not take fashion tips from
Dominic Carter doesn't know this, but I've been on radio since 1985 with Howard Stern as Mike the Cop. And for 2 years, I was also known as Mike the Couture Cop. And I did runway for Oscar. I did my ratings.
How did he manage
1 to 5
work
donuts
himself
on all the outfits?
He couldn't help it.
For the
he
Mike
couldn't
the
help
Couture
it.
Cop.
DominicIzzo.com, right? Isn't that your website?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Here we
Everybody
go.
stay tuned. Next up is the Phillipsburg P-Bird podcast. Then comes Uncensored with Mike the Cop, where I am going in so hard on Izzo that I might make him cry.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Hey, John, I know we're out of time, but I got plenty of love for this guy.
Give it to
He
him.
does his businesses in Nutley are phenomenal. I've been to them. His print shop. The guy works with people so much. I don't know how he makes a profit.
Yeah, I don't know
honestly.
either. I swear, I'm not even kidding. I
Who
say it
said
all
I
the
made a
time.
profit?
Okay, well you see, so
His wife is right there.
His print shop does excellent work. The other place, great for massages and so on. This guy is the real deal.
Whoa.
I mean, all time. Oh, I was
Not that kind
He's
of
got a
massage.
run-
Not that kind. Not that
Not
kind.
that kind of
There's,
massage.
there's a rub and tug in Nutley?
No.
The show was going so well.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nutley.
no.
Nutley.
Well, you
I
do
get
realize
it.
it went off the
Nutley.
rails when you came out here, Mike. Just for the
It
record.
was an oxygen bar.
It was fine.
An oxygen bar. That's the word.
That
So,
went down
so
real
there's
quick.
no nutting. There's no nutting at that.
No.
That spa.
When
None
I-
of that stuff.
when
None
I-
of that stuff. None of that stuff.
Remember when you
It's
used to
an
say,
oxygen bar. That's right. I forgot the exact terminology. That's
You
what
see,
it
what,
is.
see what
John.
happens in a show
Yeah, I
like this?
see, I
One
see.
little mishap in a word, and all of a sudden, boom.
But
Gentlemen.
Tom, I know we're done. I just got to be clear. I just got to be crystal clear.
Please do.
I got nothing but love for this guy. And this guy right here is the real deal. Anybody that can support his businesses. So, like all my printing services, he doesn't know this yet. They're about to switch to his business.
Boom.
This guy is the real
Nice.
deal.
No,
Yeah,
John-
Don, when you go downstairs, you'll see everything, not everything, but the large majority of the things, even up here too. His fingerprint is on
Yes.
a lot of
Just this
everything in this building. Yeah, just his fingerprint.
And
There.
and Turk's ass print is all over this table.
No. Hey,
goodness.
my friend Mike Leeson of Mike Leeson's Woodworking and Contracting made this table. This is real black walnut. This is like a $15,000 table donated to us for free. A lot of craftsmanship. Even if you look under the table where you think, oh, they'll just be 4 legs, it's very nicely
Do
done.
you use the white walnut table for other guests, or is this?
Yeah, wait.
It's Black History
I
Month.
just-
Wait.
I'm-
It's
I'm-
Black
wait,
History Month. When in Rome.
Wait. Well, why does the table got to be black?
There it
It's
is.
a joke.
That's
It's a
just the way.
joke.
That's
It's a
just the
joke.
way it grew.
Gentlemen,
Hey, shout out to police officers all around the country listening to this. We love you guys.
This is
And
much
ladies.
longer than the white maple.
Tom, thank you. Thank you.
Once you go black walnut, you never go
That-
back.
There you go.
Where we're at.
Thank you
Right
for
there.
everything, Dom. Thank you
182
for your
High Street, Nutley, New Jersey.
advocacy.
911specialties.com.
Thank you for your advocacy, Dom. We appreciate it. I mean, you guys. So now this way, I'm just going to talk. You all did great today, except for Tom and John. We love you. And I don't know how Mike managed to make this show about him. All right. Thank you, guys.